what do women need, information, services and access. And as Alva said about the National Women's Council, we have a really long-standing mandate from all the members in the Women's Council for free, safe and legal abortion. And it's from that mandate that we continue to do all our work in this area. So I really want to welcome you to this session. We have a really brilliant lineup of speakers, and I think it's going to be really interesting to hear their perspectives and their opinions and ideas on this issue. And they have a vast range of experience, and I think that's going to be really useful in this discussion and for this session. We are going to keep people really to time, so each speaker is going to have about 10 minutes, and that then hopefully will give you an opportunity for a question and answer session then at the end. So we're going to go straight into it. So our first speaker this morning is Evelyn Geraghty from the Irish Family Planning Association, and she's the Director of Counselling there. And Evelyn oversees, and I think it's really important to say this because the IFPA have been such a key player in all of this discussion around reproductive rights. But Evelyn oversees the IFPA Pregnancy Counselling Service, and on average each year that delivers information, support and counselling to over 5,000 women, girls and couples. And prior to this, Evelyn has worked as a psychotherapist in various primary care and community settings before working in the IFPA.
Thank you, Laura, for that introduction. Today we're asking a very important question. What do women need in relation to abortion information, services and access to these services? What I would like to bring to this forum is a sense of women's experience in accessing abortion services under the current legal regime, and explore what services and information women would need in a new legal regime. I'm going to talk a little bit about the IFPA's services within the current legal context. I'll share what we've learned from the women who use our services, and I'll highlight what that tells us about what will be needed after repeal of the 8th Amendment. And my starting point is something that Professor Rebecca Cook has said. No society, no religion, no culture, and no system of national law has been neutral about issues of human reproduction. And to me, that suggests that while we focus in Ireland, for obvious reasons, on the harms and abortion stigma related to criminalisation of abortion, these are not exclusive to Ireland, and a change in the law does not automatically eradicate stigma or guarantee access to services. So first, let me highlight a few important points in relation to pregnancy counselling in Ireland, and in particular, the counselling service that the IFPA provides. The IFPA has worked since 1969 to promote and protect basic rights, human rights in relation to reproductive and sexual health, relationships and sexuality. An integral part of this work since 1992 is our pregnancy counselling service. And as most people in this room know, under Irish legislation, pregnancy counselling is governed and restricted by the 1995 Information Act. The legislation requires that women can only be given information about abortion services in face-to-face counselling sessions, and only if they are given information, counselling and advice about the options available to them in their particular circumstances. The legislation assumes that women need the assistance of somebody else in making a decision, that her own ability to make a decision about her reproductive health, her body, her pregnancy is inadequate. This is a form of state control based on harmful stereotypes about women that constrains and limits women's reproductive rights. In fact, no other type of counselling or psychotherapy in this country is regulated either by the state or any other body, nor is any other type of counselling subjected to fear of prosecution by the law of the land. The law stands in the way of women exercising their considered conscientious choice about their pregnancy. The Information Act also serves to locate abortion counselling and post-abortion medical care outside mainstream healthcare, thereby reinforcing stigma and further marginalising and deterring women in accessing services, including post-abortion medical care. And women need to be free of that. And pregnancy counsellors need to be free of the Information Act. And above all, women need to be free of having to travel to another country to avail of safe abortion services. Yet women come to pregnancy counselling who've made the decision, who have found all the information they need online and from friends. So what do women gain from attending our services? for pregnancy counselling. They attend our services for many different needs. Many women seek to confirm the accuracy of information they found online or from friends. They have questions about the risks associated with abortion, the procedure itself, the impacts on the future of fertility, other medical issues, practical issues such as cost. Women want to know what the clinic is like, what to expect at the clinic, and they also have concerns about how they will be treated. And counselling allows women to discuss any vulnerabilities and allay any anxieties that are particular to their individual set of circumstances. The IFPA cultivates a protected space where there can be intimate disclosures and exploration of women's abortion narratives without the fear of being subjected to judgment. This space can also help discharge the negativity associated with abortion stigma and the negative attitudes of other people. Indeed, women tell us that this counselling space may be the only context where a woman can discuss her pregnancy and abortion decision in a confidential manner and without fear of being judged or criticised. At the same time, it's a process that is highly influenced by external perception that abortion is a problem, is wrong, is criminal. Rebecca Cook describes stigma as a defective mark, a tainted attribute that spoils identity. It disqualifies an individual from full social acceptance. It cuts stigmatised people off from society. It provokes hostility towards them. It provokes hatred towards the labelled person. And here are some examples of what women, how they describe some of their stigmatising experiences. Look, I can't talk about this at home. You know, my granny is pro-life. She comes up every year on the bus to the march. Women refer to what they've heard on the radio when they come into their counselling, or what they've seen on TV. What they're saying on the radio is wrong. They don't know the reality of what I have to go through. I want to throw my shoe through the TV. I don't want to feel like I've done something wrong. And counselling gives distance to the woman from her social sphere and space to discuss her situation. Here she can take charge and be autonomous in her decision making despite all the impediments that are put in her way. The stigma women experience won't disappear with the repeal of the 8th, and stigma is here in the health services. Women tell us this. They tell us of the hostile and judgmental attitudes of some healthcare providers. Some women are reluctant to speak openly about abortion to their GP, for instance. They fear judgment and condemnation. They don't trust that what they disclose will remain confidential. So after the repeal of the 8th, women-centred, rights-based pregnancy counselling has to be part of the legal abortion services. And again, I'll go back to Rebecca Cook. She has described women who seek abortion services as separated from the dominant culture, marked as different from the norm, and as tainted or discounted. How do we undo that then? What have we learned from women who have attended abortion services in the UK, for example, and about their needs? And I have to say I'm very happy to be sharing the panel with Anne Fraley, CEO of the British Pregnancy Advisory Service, because we know BPAS, they have led the way in providing women-centred, rights-based services. The experience of using UK services, leaving aside the burdens of having to travel to access them, has been by and large positive. For example, women tell us they couldn't have been nicer to me. The nurse held my hand on the way to the theatre. They allowed me to stay in the clinic when I had nowhere else to go. They gave me a cup of tea. Small things that mean a lot. These women are telling us that they are treated with respect. They don't feel that they are doing something that they have to repent for, or regret, or be forgiven for. Women talk of the immense relief they feel in being dealt with in a sensitive but caring way, not pitied, not forgiven, not condescended to. They are treated as adult women who have made a rational decision. They were able to access the service with dignity. So what can we learn about these services and the women's experiences of these services they attend? And moreover, is it remotely possible that we could have abortion services like this in Ireland? Of course it's possible. There are health services already in Ireland that are developed for specific and often stigmatised groups. Until relatively recently, the stigmatised group was women, especially unmarried women who sought contraception services. People living with HIV and AIDS and with other STIs are another group that were highly stigmatised, and indeed I'd argue that are still being highly stigmatised. For example, take the Guide Infectious Diseases Clinics, which provide specialised sexual health services, or even take the emergency contraception pill that's now freely available over the counter, or indeed take our own IFPA clinics. You have walk-in contraception services, STI testing and treatment, smear test. These services have emerged from the context of stigma, illegality and stereotype. They are now premised on respect and dignity of the client, rather than the supposed morality of the state. It has taken a lot of work by the IFPA and others to change that, and while services available are not perfect, they are confidential, anonymous, affording the client an open, non-judgmental, holistic approach to their current needs and treatment options. The service is incorporated within mainstream health services, and the healthcare providers who provide these services, they do so in an environment that is not filled with the fear of prosecution. Change is coming. Repeal of the 8th Amendment is coming, but many challenges will remain. While abortion stigma in Ireland now is maintained and reinforced by the law, it doesn't derive exclusively from the law. Eradicating stigma and providing meaningful access to non-judgmental services will require a lot of work to change culture and attitudes in the health services, in health policy, in the wider society and at a political level. And it will require a lot of work by health service providers like the IFPA. And we will need to design every aspect of these services, the language we use, the clinics, the setup, the rooms, the protocols we write. But also change will have to be instilled by the women's movement and by sexual and reproductive health advocacy organisations. Moreover, it must include the voices and experiences of the women who, under the current law, are shamed, stigmatised and silenced. Thank you.